Hello, my name is Marissa Jackson, and this is my segment of my show Sprinkle of Risk called A Conversation About God. Now, I've been taking a break recently because I've become more busy in my schedule, so I need to see what my flow is so that I can be strategic with my time. But I had an experience um, yesterday, and I'm like, this is something. If I felt like it was so good of such a good word of advice for myself, I'm like, somebody else needs to hear it. So I wanted to go ahead and record this to put out there. So, moral of the story is going to come first. God will allow you to feel suffering for your deliverance. And the reason why I say that is because I had an experience in the workplace before where I allowed distractions to get in the way and moving from a place of a lustful spirit. And that was a mistake. It was truly a mistake. People always say, never mix business and pleasure. True, very true. And I allowed that to happen. And I ultimately really think it happened because what I was saying in the privacy of my home, things like that I wanted, that I desired, or whatever, things that I thought I wanted. When you speak stuff like that, the devil hears you. He hears you, and he will use those things to get to you. So you have to be careful. They say, be careful what you wish for. Watch your tongue, because there's life and death in it. And I was just saying things that I thought I wanted, the kind of man that I wanted to appear, and things like that. And it happened. A person appeared, and that person was no good for me at all. I didn't even want to be in a serious thing with that person, but it was fun, right? It was not for me. So I had been wanting to heal from that. And that was a while ago, but a few days ago, I just started thinking about that situation and how I wish I would never have done that. And I was beginning to feel very down, and it came out of nowhere. And I was just being reminded of that suffering that I felt before I had been delivered by God. And in the moment that it happened, of course, I knew to go to God. He was going to give me rest, and He did. But it wasn't as strong as like comfort as I usually get from God. And I was kind of wondering, like, I wonder why it doesn't feel that like fulfilling right now. Not to like that His presence wasn't fulfilling, but I felt the rest, but that extreme level of comfort, it wasn't all the way there. And I'm like, it's gonna come later. It may not be now, but it's gonna come later. I just wonder why. And the next day I went to work. This is a whole new job now, like, because that happened a while ago. As I went to work, I started thinking about it, and I don't know what led me to think about it, but it was a test, because with the new job, that tried to come to me again, whole new person or whatever. And you can always tell when people are like being flirty with you, or they feel like there's potential there. It's not to leave it alone. But I felt bothered by it as I was going about my day. And I realized, as I was telling myself, you've learned from that mistake. Like, you're not going to make that again. It's nothing. Like, we're not even finna do that. But it made me realize, like, wow, God, you put that in my mind the day before to remind me of the suffering that I felt for so long after dealing with that situation, to remind me that I don't want to do that again. I don't ever want to put myself through that again, or be without you, God, and the discernment that you've given me, that you bless us all with from birth. And it was just like, wow, God will allow you to feel suffering and pain that you've put yourself through in order to keep you discerned and disciplined and not make the same mistakes again and not, fail the test and fall victim to temptation. And it was just like, when I realized that, I'm like, God is so strategic. Like, he knows what he's doing. So, I never question him in the pain that I feel. In the moment that I do, I go to God and he gives me rest. And I may not feel like fully healed. It gives me that peace for the moment, but I had to feel that to know we're not going to make that mistake again. And I thought that was really profound. And who knows what other situations this can be applied to and the things that God reminds us of. But I thought that was a real testimony, because in the moment that I was feeling the suffering, I felt a little weak. I felt like I needed to forgive myself. I was upset. But I rested on it, and I was like, I'm not going to keep giving my mind to that. You know what I'm saying? Keep moving. But when I was, tested the next day, even in the smallest way, I noticed it, and I recognized it. My spirit recognized it and said, be discerned, be disciplined, and keep your guard up, because it's not that, I don't want to feel those feelings of emotions again. It's not even that, because what I experienced before, that wasn't no time to love, nothing. That was just a fun game that I decided to play that ended up hurting me in the end. So I was like, that's not even for me anyways. And we not here to focus on that. We got bigger dreams and goals going on than to be distracted. But ultimately the enemy, because he works through people. So watch what you say, because when you say a wolf in sheep's clothing, that's what the devil will try to be. And that's what he was before, and tried to defeat me. But I knew when it was time to go. So I got out of that situation, and everything was good, but I still was reminded of the fact that why'd you let it happen in the first place? So I just thought I would share that for anybody who needs to be strong and stand strong, and whatever situation it would apply to. But whenever you are being reminded of suffering that you went through, it's to remind you how strong that you truly are, because you're not in that situation no more, but don't allow it to happen again. And that's why you got to keep God with you, because when you try to do stuff on your own, you can't sustain it. It may be a small victory for a short amount of time, but it's temporary, and I'm telling you that. That's real. So yeah, be discerned, be disciplined, pray for discernment. Saves you from a lot of suffering. And God gives you peace, and he gives you rest. So go to him about anything that you need help with, because he'll let you know what's up. He surely will. But I love you, and get into your word. There's no better wisdom, no better sense of peace. There's no safer place than to be in God's presence. So this has been a conversation about God. Any comments or questions or anything like that, you can always comment them. Kind of an open book, so I'm willing to have the conversation. But I'll see y'all next time. All right, bye.